get your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race. Ooh, for each and every man. Sometimes people.
All right, folks, we are back after a nice little 2-day break from our nightly podcast. Chris Chavez here with Eric Jenkins and Karen Lesowitz, and we are day 7 of the U.S. Olympic Trials. Welcome to Trials Talk. What a night of track and field.
What a night. What a night. I mean, obviously, the race in everyone's mind, the 3,000 steeplechase.
Yeah. There was a lot of action.
There was a lot of action. We just got done with the men's 5Ks.
Yeah.
Like, the men's 800s were the first event. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
There was just too much going on today.
Let's start with the final. The only final of the day, the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase. I look forward to this race every single U.S. Olympic Trials and even every U.S. Championship because there's always some sort of drama that happens, especially into that final lap. And there was drama in this one. And I guess, like, for starters, very fast race.
Incredibly fast race. What, third fastest American all time?
Yeah,
for
Val Constien wins in 9:03.22.
Championship record.
Yeah.
The PBs on that board.
Everybody.
It was everyone on the first page.
Yeah. I took a pass through looking at what the new U.S. all-time list is, and from this race, 5 of the top 10 times in U.S. history came out of this race, with Val Constien leading the charge to slot herself behind Courtney Frerichs and Emma Coburn on the all-time list. For her, this is just truly remarkable because a year ago she was coming back from bilateral ACL surgery where she, had the procedure done on both knees, and I had her on as a guest on the podcast back in May. I like to say I called my shot, recognizing that she was going to be very good this year and make a second team. Crushed it. This performance, I think the signs were there all along, especially at the Prefontaine Classic. Val Constien, just an absolute gamer when it comes to racing.
Yeah, you heard her at the end too when they were interviewing her, and she was just thanking everyone. I mean, she literally said thank you to my surgeons, like that they did what they needed to do. I mean, this is someone who is a competitor. She seemed like she was racing, like she was grateful to be out there, wasn't taking any moment for granted. And I mean, when it came down to 300 to go, I mean, talk about someone else, Courtney Wayment, who was up there. I thought she was out of it. It looked like she was fading back, and then Val just led the charge, and I think everyone went with her, and errors happen when people are running that fast, right?
Yeah. There's always a fall.
Always.
Like the last water jump, especially the last hurdle, when you're that tired and you need to be that technical, there always ends up being you saw it with Hillary Bohr, you saw it today with Olivia.
Yeah.
I mean, historically, Steph Garcia many years ago.
It's just
right.
Leah Fallon.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
it's just
trials.
I've never gone through that feeling of having to hurdle and jump when you're that tired in a race that's that big, and you know it. Know that I'm right there. If I just hold on and maintain, I've got a spot on the team. It's heartbreaking, but that's what makes the event incredibly fun to watch. This race was spectacular. Yeah, you can't, it had everything you want. And you got to give a shout out to Rodenfell.
Oh my gosh, Andy Rodenfels is the one who took this thing out.
Took it out.
Going for the standard, probably?
I mean, every single jump looked pretty hard.
Horrible.
Looked pretty bad.
I think it was I've never steepled before, so I can't really criticize, but it's not very common steeple form that we saw. There was a little bit of
there's a stutter.
every side step and then a stutter, and then she would make it over.
Almost every single hurdle, I wondered if she was gonna jump over it.
Yeah.
Because she gave a thing no, I'm not going over it.
I found myself just kind of saying to the other women who were competing, being like, you do not want to get behind her because in any one of these stutter steps, she could go down and there goes your race.
Oh yeah. When they caught up to her, I mean, I held my breath, thinking, oh no, she's kind of losing speed. They're all gaining on her, and she took it out. She tried to, I think, chase that standard. I think it's an admirable effort, but as we saw, everyone in here ran PBs. They caught her. She faded back, and there were some key players, unfortunately, Alio and Chrissy Gear, we didn't see in the mix from the start. I mean, it's hard to see just because those are two very talented women, but to me that was the first indication that, this is going fast. Two very good people are not even in contention.
Yeah, I think it was interesting when Wayman took over at the front because it still was from a little bit of a early ways out.
What was it, like 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go?
Yeah.
Something
And
like
it's
that,
sort of like at that point now you expose yourself being up in the front and doing a lot of the leaning where there's just a slew of other women behind you who are just kind of waiting, and biding their time to try and make a pass. Marissa Howard attempted it, a little bit before the bell. And major kudos to Marissa Howard because this was a monster personal best, 9:07.
Wow.
She came into this one
So
with
11
a
seconds
personal
or
best of it was 9:22.
Yeah.
So like really remarkable stuff. I mean, Marissa Howard's been steeplechasing since 2014. And so like this is just a culmination of just like being so close and making all these major
10-year
gains.
anniversary.
And
Yeah.
she makes her first Olympic team.
Incredible.
Wow, it's amazing. So, Gabby Jennings was someone that we talked a lot about and think she looked so good in the prelim that we thought, she's someone who's going to make that team. But with how the race played out, it was just so fast. I don't think anyone really. We expected it to be fast. The steeples are always the final ends up being fast, but I don't think anyone necessarily thought it was going to be that quick.
Yeah,
Right.
Gabby Jennings is like a lot in the unfortunate position of 4th place at a trials, and that is the spot no one wants to be in. And afterward, I believe it was Mitch was interviewing her, and she said it's like that was a 6-second personal best. Like that's what I have. This is the sport, and like it's just crushing sometimes. And I mean, I feel like so many of the women in this field probably can walk away from this thing. Yes, a little bit of upset, but also very similar to how the men's 15 shook out.
Exactly going to say the men's 15. It's like, how can you be upset, too upset with a 6-second personal best?
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you hoping to do on the day? Of course, when you dump so much emotional investment into preparing the whole year to make the team, and that's all everybody's talking about. You want to make the team, and when you're talented, of course that's how it goes. But when you run that fast, faster than you've ever run by a good chunk of time, and you put yourself in the race, like there's nothing more you can walk away from with a whole lot of disappointment.
Yeah, and someone that should be so incredibly proud, and I think they've already said this, to someone in the media tent, that they are proud of themselves and how they raced, is Olivia Markovic. I mean, she took one down. I mean, I thought she had it in the bag, especially with 300 to go. Courtney looked like she was drafting off the back, and there was a gap, and it looked like it was, Olivia's race to get top 3. I think what happens is you're running at PR time, and if a mistake happens, I can imagine, as we saw, she didn't just stumble once, she stumbled twice, and I think that was just a testament to the caliber of like effort she was giving, and should be so proud of how she raced and PR'd with both of those stumbles.
After hitting the ground, getting back up, and essentially walking it in to still have a 9:14, like it's her potential is something that I think we still haven't totally seen. And she's just joined the On Athletics Club. Dathan has had some success in the past with some steeplechasers. So, I look for her to really come back strong next year.
Yeah, and I'm going to gas her up. There was, I think, a moment, I think it was 800 to go, or maybe it was 3 laps to go where Courtney took it. There was a gap. She could have easily not gone. I saw, you see runners, when you're following them, they can make a decision, right? There's a gap that's forming, and you have to make a decision. Am I going, or am I going to stay back? She made a decision to link up with Courtney, who was going, and I think that's all you need to know about her as a competitor. That On has got an incredible talent there, and hopefully the coach can do some stuff with her talent.
Yeah. How do we feel about this team heading to the Olympics? I think it's a strong one. Obviously, like when we look at just sort of the grand scheme of who is at the top of the steeplechase right now, it's, you've got runners from Bahrain and Kenya and Ethiopia that it is really hard to crack and break through. But seeing what Val Constien did here today makes me pretty optimistic. It's like, we've just grown so accustomed to it being Emma Coburn and Courtney Wayman. Val's only a second off of like what Emma has, run now at this point, and that's kind of wild because like coming into this meet, I don't think anyone would have projected this big of a leap forward for her.
Yeah, when you see names like Emma Coburn out, Courtney Frerichs out, you're sitting there wondering, the best team necessarily isn't like our stars are kind of banged up and not in the contention for medals this year. But with the performance that Valerie Constien put out, all the top three, I mean, it was just such an incredible race that you have to be happy with that. I mean, with such an exciting race and with how well they competed, and like Karen said, we were talking about with Courtney Wayman, like there was a point where after doing a lot of the hard work and then slipping back, it's to be able to rally again, and she didn't just hang on for a team, she came in second. So, which is incredibly hard to do. So the team is incredibly strong, and you've got to be happy with the way it looks heading into Paris.
And I think the one thing I do like about Courtney Wayman being on this team, and I was thinking it into that last lap where, yes, the team could have been comprised of Val Constien, Marissa Howard, Gabby Jennings, or Olivia Marquezich, where I was like, yeah, but like there's something to the fact that Courtney Wayman has World Championship final experience that she's been building upon over these last couple of years. She's the only American woman who's been in the last 2 World Championship finals, and so each time out, you learn something. And so now that she gets to go to her first Olympic Games, I'm excited to see, with all of this fitness, what she can do against the world's best.
And there is a big difference between racing against the Americans and then taking a step forward and racing against all the international competition. Like, it does feel a lot different. You can be as fit as you want. Like, to the prelims of a World Championship or an Olympics is a lot different than a prelims of an Olympic finals here in America. So that experience for Courtney definitely will go a long way.
Yeah. Right, and that's why we're seeing people, like Gabby Jennings, we had in our top picks. We're sending the 3 fittest people who can do 3 rounds. Like that's who we're sending in a final championship race. So, you can call them early on, but at the end of the day, we're sending the 3 fittest people to do the job they need to do.
Let's move over to some of the other distance races that we had here today. And we'll go kind of in, chronological order of what we had, on the schedule. So we'll start off with the men's 800. These were all, top 6 in each heat, next 3 fastest to the semis. And I'm looking at each one of them. No major surprises.
No, it was like the favorites kind of did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about this earlier. When it's top 6, each heat, there's a little bit of air that the best are allowed to play around with. They all looked great. Bryce Hoppel and Hobbs Kessler.
Holding hands at the finish line.
Holding hands in the finish line. Everyone loves to see that. Hobbs looked fantastic. And I think you're going to see him look great as the rounds progress. Having already made that 15 team, he's got nothing to lose here.
There's no pressure.
There's no pressure.
Right.
He's already done. He's already, probably exceeded expectations, running so fast in that 15 final. Yeah, like he just looked so good at Top Flight. Like his form is one of the. You can't ask for better form out of a runner than Hobbs Kessler in these fast races.
You think he's got a shot to make this team?
With how he looks running these, I think you would be. I think you absolutely cannot count Hobbs Kessler out to make the team. Bryce Hoppel is the clear.
He's a clear favorite.
He's a clear favorite.
He was jogging out there.
He's just too good. Won too many of these races to not be the favorite, no matter how good anybody else looks.
I think Hobbs is good second, easily.
Yeah. Easy, says Mac. I like it.
Well, the thing is, it's like those
easily.
guys,
He's getting second easily
practice.
behind Bryce.
Like,
I don't think it's a question anymore. He looks unbelievable, and it's the most free I've ever seen him running.
Wow.
All right. I like that.
Easy
I like
breezy.
that.
I am worked up.
Let's go over to that was heat 1. Heat 2 was, 8 out of the 9 guys made it through in this one. Sam Whitmarsh, Isaiah Harris, those guys were coming down the home stretch, together.
Isaiah looks good.
Isaiah looks good. He's been here before, been there, done that, advances. Heat 3 was, I think, another one where, now we've got 6 of the 9 guys advance. Heartbreaking for my guy, Luciano Fiore, who misses it by 0.01 seconds. He had a great lean at the finish line, but Clayton Murphy, who's been on somewhat of a quiet season so far, always shows up at championships.
Yeah. I mean, this is the only meet Clayton wants to do, it seems like. Healthy or not, he's going to show up for the Olympic trials. Now, whether he shows up like he has in years, like when he ended up getting the bronze, is he that fit and that sharp? He can't be because he was unbelievable that year. But he's just so experienced at this meet. Yeah. And I do think I said earlier, I think I said on the morning show he was going to make the team. I still think that. I still think he's going to make the team. He is just a gamer, and he shows up for this meet. No matter how much he hasn't raced this season.
Right, and we're going to see. I mean, he commanded that race. He wanted the win clearly, and we're going to see if that was him maybe needing a little confidence going into this, or if that was him showing his confidence and dominance. I think someone like him and his caliber, he doesn't need to be winning heats, and so why is he? And we'll see.
But Brandon Miller looked really good. What did he run? Did he run a 3:40.15 at Portland Track Fest? He's working with Danny Mackey, and I'm assuming getting a lot more strength work than he did at A&M. He's a guy that absolutely can make this team. Isaiah Harris, Brandon Miller, Jewett, these are the guys that.
But now you throw Hobbs in there too.
And now you throw Hobbs in. There's just a slew of guys that are all positioning themselves really well to make the team.
Well, and how are we feeling about Eric Holt? I think we thought maybe
Holtomania's still alive.
Yeah. Holt lives another day, and I think maybe we were going to see a different version of him with the Puma kit on. He was looking fresh. I mean,
he looks good in orange.
He does look good in orange.
Boy, looks good in orange.
Super good. What do we think he's thinking coming out of this?
I think it's probably. It's definitely a big adjustment to go from the 15 prelims, or even the 15. I guess he didn't make the 15 final, but it's just to get out as fast as they're getting out. It's an adjustment compared to the 15. He finished really strong. Because he started off in the back of the pack, and he's not necessarily as smooth as, say, a Brandon Miller in his heat. He's not quite that silky out there, but he closed incredibly well, and he's fired up. I mean, we were talking with him. What was it, yesterday? It could have been 10 days ago for all I know. I don't know. He's running with he's got a great attitude, and
that's a dangerous
guy, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I watched Eric Holt, and I was like, he just doesn't look comfortable. I think just because it's not. This isn't the 1500. Yeah. When he talked on our show yesterday, just about you have one move in the 1500.
Just killed a bee, no big deal.
Oh, you got him?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I felt bad. I thought it was just a regular bug, but it was a bee.
No. That's all right.
You ever hear that rumor where if you kill a bee, the rest of the hive is gonna come get you? So we're kind of screwed. Yeah.
Don't look behind
Anyway,
you.
good show. I'll see you guys in the morning.
All right, so with Holt, I just didn't think he looked comfortable.
Yeah.
In this
No,
one.
he didn't.
And I feel like he came at it from the vantage point of I'm a 15 guy. I'm stronger than everyone else, so I'm just gonna, really blast that one move in the final, whatever it was, 300 meters, and it worked today. I don't know if that's going to continue to work in the next couple of rounds. So my odds on Holt are very low to make the final.
Okay, wow, Chris. To make the final.
Yeah.
I think. But I remember when we were talking with him, he was saying he needs to get better at just making one move, and maybe he just Kate Graced the hell out of this heat and realized, look, it's top 6 get through. I don't need to have a superstar performance out there to make it onto the next round. I just need to beat 2 guys in this heat. So maybe he ran really smart. Again, he didn't necessarily look all that smooth, but doesn't really matter when he got the big Q. But we'll see how it goes for the next race.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of caveat it, he's not Kate Grace, and I'm just gonna say she was able to do that because of her caliber. I do think he looked a little rough, and we're gonna see with all these rounds that he's gone through, right? Like I would say, I wouldn't necessarily put my bets on him for going through 2 different events in those rounds. Maybe if it was just one, but we saw it through the 15, it didn't work. We'll see. I'm rallying for him. I hope he does it. I think he looked fresh in that Puma kit, and I guess time will tell.
One guy we haven't talked about yet, and the Heat 4 was also 7 out of the 8 guys who ran in this one made it through. This one I was watching out for Shane Cohen because he was all the way in the very back. Pulled the same move that won him the NCAA title, except this time around comfortably. Started looking around with about 50 meters left in the race. Makes it through, takes 3rd in this section. But, Eric, I'm curious, what do you think? Does that tactic work against pros come the final?
I mean, it works against pros. Yeah, exactly. Does it work in the final? It works to make it through. I was thinking the same thing with about 125, going into that last 100 meters, he was getting gapped.
Yeah.
Luckily he has an outstanding kick, the best kick in the field probably. But do you want to, if you're, let's say, his coach, do you want him to keep doing that? Do you want just do that for the next few races? It's no, probably not. I would want to see him not be getting gapped because he's kicking the best in the field over that last 100, so he's not necessarily gassed.
Yeah,
he's just, I guess, a showman.
Yeah, he is.
He's fun. Look, it's fun to watch. If you're his coach or his family, it's stressful to watch, and you wouldn't want to keep relying on that each race. It's not going to work against guys like Hoppel. But could he do that kick and make it onto the team? Yeah. Is he going to be able to do that? But that's if he's feeling as fresh. At some point, you're just not going to feel very good. When Hoppel takes it out and it's not a 147, 146 race.
That's what I was going to say.
When it's a 145 race, faster. Hoppel's talking about running 142. So, and Shane's never run in a race like that. You can't expect that kick to be there when it's a lot faster. But damn, it's fun to watch. Tell you that.
It's almost like a reverse Michaela Rose. Isn't that kind of funny? And I think what we could see in a final, given that Cohen's going to be in there, hopefully, Michaela Rose's tactics didn't work because it went out hot. I mean, they went out, I think it was in a 27, and she couldn't implore her tactics because they were kind of stripped from her. So I think that's exactly what could happen is, even if we talked about, these college kids having kind of their tricks up their sleeves, but showing their cards. I mean, this is what I do. Switching it up, is it a gamble versus just doing what you know? I think that's the nature of racing professionals. It evens the playing field for them because it might go out in a totally not conducive way.
We'll find out more as the semifinals roll tomorrow at 6:39 p.m. Pacific time, and then this field gets, just dwindled down even more.
That's top. Tomorrow it's top 2, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Tomorrow is
the way it should be.
Yeah.
No, top 5 in each semi, and then the next 2 fastest to the final.
What the hell?
All right, let's jump over to the women's 1500. In this one, a lot of people entered, and so there were, people bounced in the first round, but no surprises, I think, either here in any of the results. First one was really funny. First heat was really funny to watch because it was just a total jog fest for that first 3 laps, it felt like. And then Elise Cranny made her move to the very front, and eventually I think they ended up finishing 4 wide. Corey for the win, Sage, Nikki, Elise, everyone made it through. That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
But just again, that's just the nature of the first round.
Well, question, what do you think helps you more, like recover-wise? Meaning, like what Elise did was, yes, it was a jog fest the first few laps, but I mean, she looked pretty all out that last 400, and she was straining, I think, and made it obviously comfortably, and I think she's an incredible athlete. But what is that a tactic for her? I'm just almost curious from a POV, like, is running an even 1500 prelim easier on the legs than doing 3 easy laps and then one harder one, like all out, faster than any of the other ones would have been? What do you think, Eric?
Like a sit and kick race for sure is the easiest.
But 400, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's kick.
I mean, you wouldn't want it necessarily, like, if you're a coach, I wouldn't imagine that I want my athlete kicking incredibly hard and then getting kind of swallowed up by the pack. But Elise looked great, and Elise is kind of in a no-lose situation here with the 15. Mm-hmm. She's already made a team, so now it's like, hey, like, and I think I saw somewhere where she said she just wants to try something new and do the double and see how it goes. Like, she's playing with a little bit of house money that the other athletes, besides Ellie, don't really have right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like. Corey looked fantastic. Nikki looked fantastic. Sage is kind of in actually the exact opposite position of Elise in that she didn't make the team, and now she's running with a bit of a chip on her shoulder, and she's not going to, as of now, going to Paris, so it's a bit different. But I mean, in the first heat, like, and Elise is incredibly strong, so I wouldn't expect this to take a whole lot out of her. This was kind of standard business for the heavy hitters.
Yeah, the only thing that stood out to me of this one was just watching Sage closely, and in terms of just like jockeying for position, going into that bell lap, having to do a little bit of weaving, but similar to Eric Holt, it was like, all right, it's the kind of the flip side where it's like this is an 800-meter specialist unloading a kick in the final lap. I think was no problem. Like that final lap felt probably great for Sage to again survive and advance. For Cranny and for Cranny and Ellie St. Pierre, these are the type of races that you're just like, all right, this is good what I need after like having run an all-out 5K just 2 days before. So,
and it could even like we're talking about, maybe it's tying her out to kick so hard. It could be like you're stretching your legs out a bit, like you're just kind of shaking out a lot of, like, sometimes you don't even. Maybe you're feeling a bit worse than you actually are. Like before, like the race starts, like I feel a bit sluggish. I can feel that 5K in my legs still, and then come the last lap, she starts picking up the pace a bit. It's like, okay, no, I feel good. I'm gonna stretch the legs out a bit. It's like almost like you're doing pre-race strides or something. Like, I mean, Elise looks fantastic, and if you didn't have her as a threat to make that 15 team before, I'm sure you have her now.
She knows it's going to take, she said it in the mix zone today, it's going to take sub 4 to make this team. I honestly think that there's going to be a woman who runs sub 4 and doesn't make the team. Like, we're that deep right now in this event.
Right.
Hardest event to make, we said it.
Yeah. Over in Heat 2, again, no major surprises. Heather McLean, 407. Sinclair, right there, 408. Helen Schlachtenhofen in that third position. Again, I just think kind of I'm impressed by Heather and just kind of like the strides that she's making so far this season because it was a later start to the year for her.
Yeah, Heather she's just so unbelievably talented, and training every day with the group that she does, I'm sure it's just helping her build confidence, week in, week out. Me and Mac were talking about it in the stands. It's like Sinclair, for how accomplished she is probably like no one's really talking about her.
It's so wild because she was just the U.S. champ, like what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean that's the sport. Especially with an event as deep as this is, you're only as good as your last race. You're only as good as what you've been doing recently. Sinclair hasn't done as much but she's still has she run 4 flat this year? Yeah, so it's not like she's just hasn't been racing this year. She's incredibly fit, but for one reason or another, she's not considered to be one of the favorites along with the other New Balance women.
Yeah, and I think we're like, short attention span people.
We're TikTok people.
It's the Gen Z. We are, and we notice, what the bold moves are and what catches our interest, and that was Heather McLean taking it out and dominating from the very beginning, where Sinclair, I don't know if I've seen her dominate in that way. She tends to, I think, creep up and rely on that kick. And, while yes, that's, the end of the race, she'll snag a title here and there. I can't say we see her be dominant as a force. And I think maybe that plays into people kind of counting her out sometimes, unintentionally.
We're here with New Balance.
We are.
And the New Balance sweep.
Yes, sir.
Is
Don't make me say the pledge, Chris.
Say it.
By
From the top of your head.
By heart. Come on.
New Balance accepts all runners of shapes and stride lengths. No matter the distance, don't care. No matter the distance, the frequency, or the pace. If you're a runner, you're a runner. Hold on. Thank you, Mick. New Balance. Run your way.
There we go.
Wow. And you wanted to go last. You got it.
You got it. That was
I think that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
We got to study Hub.
Yeah.
The
I got pretty nervous at the beginning. I completely forgot it.
sports marketing team downstairs is like,
Yeah.
You got it.
He said shapes and sizes. What a crazy son of a bitch.
The hopes for a New Balance sweep are alive and well, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, not even just with the New Balance, because
Boston.
we're talking.
Corey's.
Yes, because we were talking about
A Coogan sweep.
a Coogan
Right?
sweep. Yeah, we were when Mark was here, we were talking about a Coogan sweep. But Corey,
Danny Jones.
like New Balance, really does have a solid
stronghold.
chance at getting a sweep.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, those jerseys, they were up there. It was almost like, yeah, this is some great marketing tactics. Have very fast runners, and they do. It's going to be so hard to beat a pat. I mean, we were talking about it, the women's 100. I mean, to have something similar to that where you have all of your teammates going, I can't imagine someone who hasn't been working out with Ellie St. Pierre isn't going into this incredibly confident.
Yeah. In that last heat, seeing Ellie and Emily working together, it's just, they're getting through the rounds together, and then come the final, we sat down with Mark. He's going to come up with a plan that is conducive to all three of them. Whether it works out for everyone is up to that day and what we'll see. But as of right now, I'm just really impressed with Ellie and Emily. Right, Emily just kind of the gusto that she takes, makes that big move with 600 meters to go or whatever it might be. She just pulls from far out.
Yeah.
That I think it'll be. The final's going to be fast. Let's
Yeah,
hope everyone gets there.
here's a conducive. A conducive race plan for all of them to make it. You have Ellie just try and run a 3:57, and then Heather and Emily just slip in behind her and hold on. There you go.
That's it. That's the plan.
That's the plan. I can guarantee you, Coogan says basically that's the whole team meeting.
That's it. And good night.
Well, because Ellie, that's what she likes doing. I mean, remember the race where I think she got jostled at 75 meters, gets slightly pushed off the track, and she goes,
the semifinal.
all right, and then just takes it right away. And no, that was the final, because she ended up running 350.
Yeah.
350. She
Well,
ran
got jostled in the semifinal, took no risks in the final.
Oh, I thought
and
she got
dominated.
jostled in the final.
2021.
What, didn't she get kind of
Did
pushed?
all of that happen in one race, or was it between?
I don't want to out
finals?
Chavez, but I think at 80, right at 100 meters, she got pushed off the track in the final, and then just decided to take it.
Okay,
All
that
in
sounds
one
right.
race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you got me.
Oh shoot!
This feels good, baby.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so she likes running from the front, making it a fast race.
Yeah, she's feisty.
And if you're her teammates, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like a good way for all of us to make it. It's going to be, they're all so fast. Emily, Heather, they're all sub-4 girls. That's not, how many sub-4 women are there actually out there? There's 5, 6?
There's a lot. I'm trying to count.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got Ellie, Emily,
Heather,
Heather, Nikki,
Sinclair.
Sinclair. Elise.
Elise 6.
At least 6. Danny Jones 4
And then
flat.
and a
Corey
lot of 4 flat.
And a lot, yeah. And then,
Whew. And I mean, if we've learned one thing so far at this trials is that, yeah, I mean, people PR earlier in the season, but people are peaking here and really just kind of blowing away personal best by a lot.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
I mean, this will be another good one. I guess the semifinals scheduled for tomorrow, right?
Is it tomorrow, then a day off, then the final?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at it
seems-
now.
yeah.
Friday and then Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep this going and let's move on over to the 5K heats that closed out the night. Woody Kincaid with a 13:23. I believe that's the 4th fastest time in U.S. Olympic trials history for the 5K. So, like, the second heat was spicy. The first one was a kicker's race, and it ended up being Cole Hawker who comes away with the victory in 13:33.
He'll probably win.
Yeah, I asked him, like, why are you doing this?
That was the consensus in the crowd. Everyone's like, Jesus Christ. The guy's gonna win. It's gonna be incredibly interesting to watch Grant what his strategy is, because he's certainly not gonna leave it to a kick, and he's not gonna leave it to, like, he's gonna go from far out. Brutally hard last mile. Mac, I can see gearing up. Hit me with some knowledge.
I mean, we decided in the stands that Cole might be fit enough to do some real Jonathan Marcus Twitter workouts. You know, like back-to-back 5Ks, 5-minute rest, all out. You know, back-to-back 13 flat 5Ks.
And not a lot of guys are actually
and not a lot of guys
able
can
to
do that. But Cole looks so good right now.
I miss Jonathan Marcus on Twitter. I'll say it. All right?
We do miss
Nothing
him.
wrong with a good soda every here now and then.
Especially
a nice ollie pop.
an ollie
Cheers.
pop.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Come on.
cheers.
Get
Come
in my
on.
Man, he was in the back. I mean,
He was in his
I don't
bag,
know.
certainly.
I don't know how to describe, though. He was literally last, and I think he was just so.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Jonathan Marcus.
No.
Yeah. I was like, Mac, bring up his most favorited tweet. No, yeah.
Bring it up.
No. Cole's in his bag.
In
right
his
alongside
bag.
Jonathan. No doubt about it. He went from, last to with going into the bell lap. He's just
But he
chilling in the
kept
back of the
moving
pack,
back.
and he just
He just kept getting farther back.
Yeah.
And I think it was like, to me, I felt like he was in a game. Like, he was like, how far back can I get and still gobble up all these guys? It was a huge power move. I mean, he dominated. It was
he did. He ran what, 53? Well, his last lap was like 53.
Yeah.
Walk it. He looked like he was just chilling. It was great to see Cooper bounce back after that 15 and move. He looked great closing right alongside his teammate. I would expect that they're going to be doing something. They're going to be working that final. They're going to be working together, and you could see them both for sure make that team.
I just looked it up just for my own sort of like peace of mind to figure out, like, is the double possible for the men in the 15 5K? And it is. The men's 1500 meter final is on August 6th. Just the next morning you have to wake up and run round 1 of the 5K. So there is a chance that Cole makes both teams and can declare for both, but he definitely said that the priority will be the 1500. So yeah, I mean, like, it'll be interesting because some people might make both teams. I'm thinking on the women's side as well with Ellie, and then choose to potentially scratch, and it opens up, a spot for someone like 4th place finisher Parker Valby to make that 5K team. So could get interesting even after all is said and done here at the trials, because there are chances that people declare only for one event. So something to keep in mind for sure.
So that was the first heat. Morgan Beadle. Beadlescombe is someone that we haven't talked about too much. He's someone who definitely could make the team, and he's incredibly consistent. Runs well at basically every race he goes. He's a pure 5,000 guy.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see him bounce around too much. He doesn't do a whole lot of other races, it seems like, but he's very consistent.
I'm looking at it. Grant Blanks it was fun to see him just sort of like mix
Really
it
fun,
up.
yeah.
He
Like,
looked
absolutely.
composed. I think, obviously at the end, coming off an NCAA, season, he just maybe looked like he didn't have the sharpness, but in the pack, he looked pretty composed, especially on the big screen. You really get to zoom in there and see their facial expressions. I think you wear your, fitness sometimes on your face. I mean, even just looking at that picture of Cole crossing the line, I mean, he has the most relaxed face out of everyone in that picture. And so to me, that's what he had.
The most interesting thing with someone like Grant Blanks is going to be just sort of like how he's going to be able to handle a hotter pace. Because as of right now, like the only races that he's been in so far this spring, because he was injured, in the tail end of the indoor season, it's been 13:33, 13:47, 13:51, 13:57. And I can assure you that like this final for this one is going to be closer to 13 minutes, and it's like, has he recovered enough from his injuries to give it one big hard effort? And there will be college guys in the mix for this one. Parker Wolf has been very impressive this spring.
Parker Wolf looked great. And I mean, going back to Graham Blanks, even though he hasn't run necessarily like incredibly fast this outdoor season, he still does have a fast PR. He knows what kind of a 13 flat race feels like, even if he hasn't been in one recently or isn't quite in the shape he was come, the end of cross country, beginning of indoor season. He still does know what it's like and has beat out guys who have run faster than him this season. I mean, you see a guy like Paul Chalimo. He's out. Is he finally done with his 5K reign? I said he was going to make the team. Now I look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care.
Nico Young, scratch.
I mean,
yeah.
And we saw a guy, because Drew Hunter also was supposed to be in this. Like,
he came down with like sickness, I think.
He came down with a brutal hangover.
No, he's actually at the warm-up
Yeah,
track.
I'm just playing. But I definitely, that 10K probably was just took a lot out for everybody, probably besides Grant Fisher.
So as of right now, like, it's true. Grant Fisher
what
went
he
back
can
to
get,
Park
and what he
City.
can get.
It weirdly gave them more. Like, I think they're fitter because of it.
So after the 10K, Grant Fisher went back to Park City.
Yeah.
Got a couple naps in at altitude.
Got a bunch of naps in at altitude, and is now back. He took the approach not to go to Wild Duck, and
smart.
Very smart. Was it as fun? Who knows? We don't know what he does in Park City, but I mean the 10, like it's gonna be like Grant is just, we've said it time and time again, incredibly composed. Woody looked fantastic in that heat, and he's someone that he does have like a better like kick than Grant, like a quote unquote kick. Grant often doesn't leave it to be that and breaks you long before that last 400 starts, but Woody's looked great. Abdi was great. Great to see Abdi looking really sharp.
And Abdi put all of his eggs into this basket.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say, I think that this is something special between Grant and Cole, and like these are the good old times right here. Like we have two guys in their prime. One's already on the 15 team, one's already on the 10 team, and we get like two of the best American distance, middle distance, and distance runners meeting at 5K. Both are healthy, both are primed to run the best that they ever will at the Olympics, and here they are head to head over 5K in a couple days. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I honestly, Eric, say something, because I'm gonna. I'm trying to dig up. Like, when's the last time we saw Cole versus Grant? Like, I can't remember if that.
Both healthy.
I would imagine this race will kind of play out similar in a sense to the men's 15, where a lot of people were just game planning on Yara taking it and making it an incredibly hard race. I would expect that Grant. Now, if you're a guy like Grant, you don't look at the race. You don't look at a guy like Cole Hawker and think, I want to leave this to be a slow and I'll just wind it up the last K. I want to wind it up the last mile. I want to just keep, as we've seen, Grant can run sub 13 on his own. He did it indoors. Like, nobody can, it's incredibly hard to be able to do that. Not a lot of guys at the American level can do that. Grant can do that. And so I would expect him to take it from you could see him taking it 2K out, just clipping off 60s for the rest of the race.
And Grant's coming off of a 3:34 1,500 meter PB, which is insane for a guy with the strength that he has. And I'm already getting excited. I think we can tell that Eric is too.
I'm kind of bricked up over here.
Like,
Oh, wow.
we get to see Grant try to break Cole. Like, that's just awesome. Like, it's gonna be so much fun to watch.
It is. I just looked up when's the last time they went head to head. They've done it twice in the 2 mile at indoors, which I think a lot of people overlook because everyone gets blown away by the fact Josh Kerr breaks the world record. Grant Fisher was in that battle, but Cole closed hard enough that he was only 2 seconds back in that race. Now, the only other time that they've faced off since then was the LA Grand Prix 5K, where Grant was toward the front, ends up 5th place in 12:53. Cole was further back, still runs 12:58, but finishes back in 11th place. I don't remember. I didn't stay up to watch that race. But I do remember there was, Salomon Barrega in there and Joshua Cheptegei that Grant committed with that move. I think Cole probably has to commit to staying on Grant this time around so that it is much closer than it was in LA.
I mean, yeah, like that race is different in the sense that that's like a world championship type of race. Like I'm sure that Cole didn't necessarily put himself, like he's a 15 guy that's just like, okay, I'm gonna hop in this race. I'm gonna hang on and try and run a fast time. I'm sure that he wasn't necessarily like thinking I'm gonna try and win this race. Grant is a guy that's like, no matter the race now, if it's a 5K, if it's a 10K, you should be. He's lining up to win that race. He's lining up to medal at come Paris. So he's going to put himself in every single race. I think ever since he got when he got 5th, was it 5th or 4th at the last Olympics?
5th.
It was 5th in the 10K. Like ever since then, and that was a crazy race. Yeah. I don't think that ever since that race, he's become the Grant Fisher as of late. Like he is now a world beater. I think that race was a huge confidence boost for Cole. And definitely Cooper. I mean, Cooper became a 12:54 guy in that race. But yeah, now, and there's not as many bodies. Like come the final, it's gonna be like if you're Ben Thomas, you're game planning with Cooper and Cole. You don't have to talk about Salomon Barrega and Cheptegei and the other the world record holder. Like you're just talking about Grant Fisher. And when he makes his move, you get on his back and you kick by him if you can hold on to it. So that's all that they're worrying about. It's a bit of an easier game plan as opposed to that LA 5000.
Can Woody and Abdi, they're training partners, can they also set something up?
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's like if you're game planning for both Grant Fisher and for Mike Smith-Elite.
Yeah, I just think though with like Woody and Abdi, we've seen Abdi run hard from the front and run fast races, but
Abdi will take the last K. He's done that before, and he did that when he won.
But I just don't see. I mean, certainly Woody. Woody is sitting as long as he possibly can, and he's just going to kick. But if you're Cole, you can't really see anybody taking it from Grant. Like, let's say those guys do take it and it's slower than Grant wants it, he's just going to go by him.
Yeah.
There's not Paul Chelimo tactics where we've seen him when it's a bit too fast, get to the front, slow it down. He did that in the 10K. We were talking with Mance about it, and he said, he would run a bunch of laps, and then Chelimo was like, this is a bit fast. I'm going to hit the front, slow it down. And Mance's like, what are you doing? It just goes right by him. Like, Grant is not the type of guy that's going to let somebody dictate a race if it's anything other than what he wants.
So, who's your team if this is a 13:05 or faster race?
Man, that's a tough question. I want to go last. No, you know what? No. That was a cowardly move.
Yeah.
I think that it's hard to. I mean, obviously you got Grant. It's hard to see it being fast enough to completely drop Cole. I think Cole is just. Cole's on fire right now, and he's got nothing to lose. And I think he's just too fit to leave behind. And right now it's going to be between Woody and Cooper, and that's tough. Obviously Abdi has got the chance.
There's
just
spots.
three spots, and all of those guys, like how it's anybody's game. I'm gonna say Woody. I think Woody can slide in there.
If it's a 13:20 race and it comes down to the fastest final lap.
I mean, if it's a 13:20 race, it's tough because
it could still be Woody.
Still Woody. I mean, Woody just is so fast.
Yeah.
And then Grant and Cole will close.
I mean, how?
Just as
Yeah.
fast.
What were you gonna not put Cole on there in a 13:20 race? Yeah. No, it's incredibly tough, but that third position. I mean, honestly, I'm saying like that third position. Like Cole's definitely gonna. I mean, the team. I do think Grant's a lock for the team. But yeah, that's my three. I already said I'm not going. I can't go back.
All right. Well, I think that does it for the distance events. We're gonna bring on our sprint analyst. I guess first let's give Paulie Throws a call, who's staying up on the East Coast. How are we gonna hear him?
Oh my gosh!
On our side.
It's late for him.
Oh. Hey, Paul. Can I can hear you there?
What's up, guys?
Oh, hold on. We can't hear you.
Yeah, we can.
We can see him.
Oh, hey, Paul. I never seen you.
Talk to him.
Paul,
Hi, Paul.
give us your thoughts on the women's discus.
Okay. Valerie Allman.
Oh no, we can't hear you, Paul.
Oh, you guys can't hear me?
No, you can't hear me.
Oh, okay.
All right, we can hear him.
Okay. Valerie Allman is insane. She threw 70.89 in qualifying
Mac.
on Monday. What day was that? Monday?
Sometimes.
Yeah. 70.73 to win today. She has 6 of the 9 best marks in the world this year. And the other 3 all belong to Jaime Perez, who I'm pretty sure isn't going to be competing in Paris because, she defected from Cuba. I don't think she got on like a refugee team or something. So Valerie Allman should be in a great position to defend her Olympic gold medal. And then behind her, Jaden Ulrich and Veronica Fraley filled out the team, which is pretty
There's a lot
much
going on here, Paul.
Can you guys still hear me okay? Okay. That's pretty much what you would expect after Loggy fouled out in qualifying with Ulrich and Fraley. Erica Beastel and Shelby Frank, who finished 4-5, both threw PBs. Shelby Frank also was a finalist in the hammer throw. So really good comps for them. Kind of unfortunate they, had the best throws of their life but finished just outside of that top 3. They probably wouldn't have gone to the Olympics anyway, and it probably would have been Ulrich and Fraley. But still just, compliments to them for performing their best on this stage.
Val Allman, you peg her as the Olympic gold medal favorite right now, hands down.
Easily.
Love it. All right, Paul, hit us with a high jump recap. What happened today?
So it was just men's qualifying, and there were 2 pretty big surprises. Javon Harrison and Shelby McEwen made it clear they took 1 jump and they qualified. That was not a surprise. But Vernon Turner and Dontavius Hill, who are the only 2 Americans inside the quota that don't have the standard. McEwen and Harrison both have the standard. And then Vernon Turner and Dontavius Hill were both the only 2 Americans other than them inside the quota. They both failed to qualify. Dontavius Hill went no height. He passed at 2:14 and then failed to clear 2:19. And then Vernon Turner, it was a second attempt clearance at 2:14, and then he failed out at 2:19. So that's not great. Everyone that's not outside the quota is pretty far outside. So for Turner, it's probably still a pretty good chance that he goes as that, next highest place in qualifier. But it's not a good showing by either of them. But in qualifying, that's really the only surprise is it's probably going to be the Shelby McEwen, Javon Harrison show when we get to the finals on whatever day they're on. Tomorrow, maybe? No. I don't know what day they're on, but it should just be a really good battle between those two when we get there, and then fighting for positioning that probably won't really matter behind them.
All right, then on the women's long jump, the Tara Davis-Woodall show is on in full force. Although, challenge here in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, they both went one and done, Tara and Jasmine. Jasmine looked really good in the triple jump the other day, qualified there, was the national champion. So, yeah, it should be. I mean, Tara is on a level kind of above everyone else in the country, everyone really in the world aside from Malika Mahambo right now. So maybe that'll like pull something really good out of Jasmine, but I don't know if it'll really be as close as it was today when it comes to the final and Tara takes more than one jump and it actually like matters more than just, being top 12.
And then for your favorite event, the men's discus.
You just cut out. What
happened in the first round of the men's discus? It's your favorite event.
It is. Really no surprises here. All the four guys with the standard all made it through. Reggie Jagers and Andrew Evans, who are probably the two most safest picks to get on the team. They both finished top 2, both over 65. They look good. They were both one and done, I believe. No, they weren't. But they both threw really well. They should be good to go for the final. That third spot is going to be very interesting because the other two guys with the standard, Mark Gustafson and Joe Brown, I would be kind of surprised if they were able to beat some of the guys ahead of them that don't have the standard, like your Turner Washingtons, Sam Mattis. Mitchell Weber of Missouri threw a big PB today of 63-something. I would be kind of surprised if they were able to up their game, I guess, and beat one of them. I would assume it's probably going to be Sam Mattis in that third spot, even though he had a little bit of a later start to the season. But he's been throwing really well, threw pretty good today. But that battle for third should be pretty interesting and pretty wide open to some extent.
I know you're poly throws, but what'd you think of that women's steeplechase?
It was awesome. That just the times that it's incredible. And I am really sad Olivia Marquezich fell because she was if she didn't fall, she probably would have broke 9:10. And that would have been the third or fourth. I think she's still the fourth fastest all dates collegiate time ever now. But she would have had I think Courtney Waitman has that record at 9:09. So that would have been pretty tight. I don't think she would have beaten Marissa because I'm pretty sure she was already ahead of her by the time she fell. But it still could have been a really good record chase. So kind of unfortunate we didn't see that. But, she just finished up her college career. And, with OAC now, she's going to do great things there. So there's a lot more in her future. And this will be just a little blip in a few years' time, hopefully.
All right, that's our Throws Insider. Pauly Throws. Pauly, it is 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and I'm so glad that you're still awake because you do this for the love of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Over and out. That's Pauly Throws.
I do just want to say, am I still?
Nope.
I wanna say one thing.
Look at that. Let's raise an lollipop.
Oh, he's a tropical punch guy. Nice.
You're a wild guy.
First
1
time
a.m.
experience tonight. Track and field is, in fact, better with an lollipop.
There you go. Pauly Throws, everybody. Give it up. All right. Let's swap you guys out for our sprint analysts. Anderson Emerald and Caitlin Hutchison about to join me on the set. All right. So today we had the men's 110 hurdle semifinals. We had the first round of the women's 200. We had the first round of the men's 400 hurdles. And then we had the first round of the women's 400-meter hurdles. Anderson, I guess in general, I guess we look at these first rounds. no major surprises really across the board, right?
Yeah, nothing crazy. No one like tripped up. No one fell over. No one like didn't qualify. There's nothing too crazy overall. I mean, we did have big names, right? We had Sha'Carri, we had Gabby, we had Sydney all opening up. I mean, those are really big, but we didn't get any big surprises. I know Caitlin might have some.
Oh, what the hell is
That's
that?
a dead bee.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna need you to cover that up. Thank you so much.
Already starting off hot.
Oh.
All right, Caitlin.
What's up, gang? How we doing?
All right, let's talk 110 hurdles.
I feel like a bag lady.
In the first heat, Grant Holloway, all biz, 12.96.
I said if he breaks the world record, I'll give him $1. So I guess we'll be on world record watch until Paris.
He wasn't looking for the money this round.
No. Very conservative effort here. I think like it's so
12.96 is conservative, Chris.
Well, he ran
No, I'm joking,
12.92 comfortably in the heats. It's like, I mean, last Olympic trials he ran 12.81. So I mean,
I'm very excited for what Grant could throw down either here or in Paris, but at this point, like, this guy is a lock to make the team.
Something crazy would have to happen for Grant to not make the team.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, of course.
That's happened enough this week.
I think even a couple of the guys who I was talking to, they were like, there's no target on our backs. Like, it's all on Grant. Like, Grant is the guy.
He did say that if you want to go to Paris, you got to come through me. So essentially, like, he's right.
Mm-hmm. Second heat, Freddie Crittenden.
Fredward looks great.
13.05, really strong
that's his
run.
Second fastest time
Listen,
ever.
if he didn't hop across the line like a little grasshopper, he would have had a PR. I think he would have went under 13. But it's okay. I honestly think with how Freddie has raced both of these rounds, he has a very strong chance at making it on this team. Like, honestly, I
also want to shout out Freddie. He spoke about like being unsponsored, like essentially his entire career, but still being out here, still working. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how much he spoke about it in the distance side, but there's so many athletes who are unsponsored at the meet, who are like openly talking about it. So but Freddie was really dope.
And Marissa Howard. I mean, some of these athletes get here on the support of a brand, not necessarily like on a actual contract, but it's like, hey, we'll give you gear and pay for your travel, and so that's what you see from the likes of a Tracksmith or Bandit Running, which it's some support for the athletes, but of course at the end of the day in this sport, what commands people's pockets usually is those footwear and sportswear apparel sponsors. So Freddie's someone who he's ranked 5th in the world,
which is wild.
Does anybody know why Jacoby didn't race? Did we hear why he was a DNS?
Well, I think he's going to U20, so maybe he just wanted to get one round. So who knows? But yeah.
All right. Are we a little concerned for Trey Cunningham? He's one of the guys who's made the teams in the past, but this time around just sneaks in.
Yeah, this was tight. 13.26 gets that time qualifier. I mean, this was tight, and he looked good in the heats. He'd been like building up towards trials. He'd been doing pretty well. I know off of indoors he was coming off injury. He dealt with some ups and downs, but I don't know. This was a tough one, and it's competitive. We're talking about Freddie. Daniel Roberts equals his season's best, right? Dickinson, gets a personal best. Of course, Grant. It's gonna be tough in the final, but I don't know. Trey is one of those guys who can pull it out. He got a silver at Worlds in 2022 here, so I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually pulls something out.
Over at Heat 3, Daniel Roberts, 13.11 for the win. Again, just sort of no surprises here. All biz. He's ranked 3rd in the world. Another guy who has a strong chance to make the team.
Yeah, Daniel is good. He's looking real good. And also shout out to Cordell Tinch. I forgot he ran right behind Grant. I spoke to him as well. He dealt with like some surgery earlier this year and all that. So it'd be great to see him make the team. Of course, coming off of D2 last year, he made the team. But this is competitive. This 110 hurdles is competitive.
Let's talk about this women's 200 where we saw. How many competitors is it? 27 competitors, and all 27 have advanced to the next round. No one got eliminated. This is like a game of Mafia where like someone gets saved by the guardian angel or escapes banishment, whatever you want to call it. Like everyone advanced. No one. Nothing happened.
Literally.
Things did happen. People ran fast.
Yes.
Sha'Carri Richardson, 21.99. Abby Steiner right behind her, 22.29. That first heat was great. Mackenzie Long in the second one. dominated that one, 22-49.
Yeah.
In the third one, Brittany Brown, 22-29 with Jenna Prandini right behind her. Tamara Clark as well. I thought that was the strongest of all the 4 sections.
That he was wild.
And then Gabby Thomas doing Gabby Thomas things with a 22-11 in the final section. We're at this point in the season where we're results watching, right? Between like what is happening here and then at the same time what's happening in Jamaica. What kind of message do you think that these performances are sending over to Jamaica at this point? Because it's like Sha'Carri's looking like a potential gold medal threat in both events.
I was about to say,
right?
I mean, Kaylee, what do you think?
Man, I'm not talking. You talk.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, it's true. I will say we gotta. On the whole Jamaica-U.S. thing, we did see Sharika in the 100 at least. She ran very well, so she's getting back into form.
What did she run today?
She ran 10.98, I think it was.
That was in Shellyanne as well.
And Shellyanne also ran 10.9. So they're starting to look a little bit better. But, I mean, man, Sha'Carri, she... Like, I kind of got hit on Twitter because I said she jogged 21.9.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, and then people were like, "Oh, she didn't jog." I mean, listen, she was comfortable. And in context, she ran 21.92 seconds to win the bronze medal at the World Championships last year. She's looking comfortable here at trials.
The first round.
In the first round, in the heats, like, Sha'Carri's looking good. It's going to be hard to see anyone, like, keep her off the team.
I say it'll be hard to keep her off the team, but I feel like she's gonna have to, and I hope she don't kill me for this. She gonna have to go through Gabby Thomas though. Like,
no, I mean,
no. But
like,
three people.
But I know, but you're talking about like a gold medal threat, and like she is. But like honestly, I feel like Gabby Thomas has like been on the brink of like running something like super insane in the 200 for a while, in the same way that like Sha'Carri has looked extremely comfortable in the 2. I would say the same thing for Gabby, and I feel like Gabby's ready to run something fast, and like we know, like her PR is 21.6. So I'm like, you know what? I think Gabby is ready to run 21.5. Not like this week, but I feel like at some point, either leading to Paris or in Paris, like she is ready and primed to like be able to do something like that, because every 200 races she's had this season, like it's the same situation. Like she looks fine, like she looks ready, like she looks comfortable. So I'm like, okay, when it's time for her to really go up against everybody, like she gonna have to run something hot. And so I can see Sha'Carri like getting silver, but I don't know, like something about Gabby like getting gold like just feels like a strong it for me.
I mean, to be fair, I agree. I think Gabby is like probably the favorite at these trials, and then probably the favorite American. But I would say Sha'Carri is creeping into that conversation.
Yes.
I feel like Sha'Carri could be. I feel like if you give it another year, then it'll be like, okay, are we picking Gabby? Are we picking Sha'Carri? Because both of these women could run like 21.6 and faster, and you know what I'm saying. Like I feel like it just will take her one more year to get there. But this is not to say like, oh, like her 21.9 ain't nothing. Like it's there, but like when we're talking about like the elevation of like the women's 200 right now, I feel like there's only 2 women who have like really started to like take it there. But like Sharika specifically, with like how she's been dominating for like the past 2 or 3 seasons over the 200, and the only other person who's been up there besides her has been Gabby, because when Gabby ran that 21.6 back at the other Olympic trials, it was like, oh snap, like are we trying to, you know, take down this world record, and like when is that going to happen?
Yeah, I agree entirely. I think that this is the event in the women's sprints where someone very, very good is going to get left off the team. Because again, if
you're going to have to run sub 20 to make the team, I feel like.
I mean, you might have to run like 21.8.
Last year, Kayla made the team at 22.01, but I feel like this year Sha'Carri is definitely going to be like, if she's running this comfortable in the first round, she's definitely going to be going sub 22, and then same thing for Gabby. Like I feel like she's definitely there. So the last person, I mean, it's going to be a fight for third place.
I was even going to say the last Olympic trials, a Navia battle. It was Gabby Thomas, Jenna Prandini, a Navia battle. They made the team, and Tamara Clark finished 4th, running 21.9. So we already have seen it happen. So I think it might take 21.8 to make this team. It might take it, right? Because we're talking about Sha'Carri, we're talking about Gabby. Mackenzie Long is in there. Abby Steiner behind Sha'Carri looked good. Like this is a very stacked.
I mean, and then Brittany Brown too. Like she's a person that you can literally never sleep on. I mean, like the first time she made a 200-meter team, nobody expected her to make it, and she went out and won a silver medal. When she was like, you know what, screw it, I'm doing 100 this year. I'll see you guys later. She makes the team in that and ends up making the final for it too. So like, Brittany Brown is the kind of person where it's like I know it's easy to kind of like talk about our 3 favorites, but if there's any person who can definitely leave our top top 3 at home, it will be her.
Yeah, Brittany Brown, big fan of CITIUS Mag, big supporter of what we do.
Yep.
Do we give a little bit of an edge to the likes of Gabby and Brittany, and even you could throw in Abby Steiner in there because she pulled the plug on the 100 really early, that like they don't have 3 rounds on their legs right now, and so maybe that's one extra thing that you could throw in Gabby's corner to give her the edge over Sha'Carri. Mackenzie Long also got bounced from the 100 early, so like I think if we look at the top 5 women so far today, Sha'Carri's the only one who has 3 races under her legs. Will that affect her? I don't necessarily think so.
Running 21.9 like that, I feel like it's like she never even ran those 3 races, to be honest.
And they had 2 days off. It's like they had a lot of time. But
She's been chilling.
Yeah, but I would say I think Gabby is still the favorite. And she pulled out the 400. We didn't get a chance to speak with her because she just walked through, but I think she's focused. Like, she wants to make sure she's ready for this. So, yeah.
Brittany Brown made the World Championship final in the 100 last year.
Yep.
Anderson, you got a chance to talk to her. Why is she only doing the 200 this year?
Yeah, she's locked in. So she's spoken about, and she's also spoken about a little bit previously, but, she dealt with some health issues even last year, which is why she focused only on the 100. Now coming into this year, similar, dealing with some certain things, and she wanted to make sure she's really locked in and focused. And she's been having a really, really good season. The fly's coming out tonight. She's having a really, really good season. And I don't know, I like her focus. She was talking about how, like, she's really going to show herself. Like, she's really grown into a new athlete. And, I mean, coming off, like, her 22.2, that's the time that she ran to get, a silver medal in 2019. Obviously, it's going to take a lot faster, but this is her heat. Like, Brittany is good.
She's coming around at the right time. Just don't put her in lane 8. Remember what happened in Oslo?
Maybe need to put her in lane 8. Like 21 or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna shout out Mackenzie Long. Like you said, she went out, in the heats or in the semifinals of the 100. Now she came in the 200. She said that, like, this is her event. Like, she's really, really wants to do well in this event. She got emotional again, talking about her mom, after the heats here. But I mean, Mackenzie Long is looking dangerous. She's looking dangerous. So yeah.
I was just kind of thinking about it. Do you remember when there was that controversy a couple months back about the niece of, like, the federation head who like skipped over the finish line? Remember that?
Yeah,
like
Somalian. Yes. Yeah.
What if you're one of the 27 athletes in this field, why didn't you just jog it in and like save your legs and then just skip over the finish line?
To avoid getting a crappy lane, maybe, or like to avoid getting cussed out by your coach.
That's right.
Mackenzie definitely said that. She was like, I should have just like chilled. Like, she went too hard, and then she looked at the results. She's like, hold on, everyone qualified. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, let's move on over to the men's 400-meter hurdles, where we had, again, a majority of the field advance. I mean, there were 32 guys and only
4 guys didn't make it.
5 guys didn't make it. I mean, not a whole lot to unpack here aside from the fact that Rai Benjamin looks so comfortable. He ran 49.56, shut it down. He told us after hurdle 8.
I mean,
and just jogged.
Literally jogged. Like, literally jogged. I mean, so easy. So easy for Rai. He's looking like, obviously, he's the clear favorite entering here. He's looking like the clear favorite. He even spoke about how, the standard of the 400 hurdles is like insane, where him, Alison Dos Santos, Karsten Warholm, they're really setting the standard. So I think when we get to the final, he's really going to kind of show himself. But man, Rai's looking good. And I don't know, can anyone challenge Rai?
No one can challenge Rai here. What we ultimately do have come the final, which we have 2 more rounds to get through, or 1 more round and then the final.
Yeah.
Is a battle for those 2 other spots where I think it's...
Caleb Dean has the second spot.
Caleb Dean. This was impressive today.
Nobody is taking one of those spots from Caleb Dean. Like, considering the fact he's only raced twice, like, since this, because he was literally injured. Like, him and his team, Texas Tech, obviously, like, won the indoor title. Him and his team's on top of the world. Boom. bunch of people start getting injured, him included. He did not race until Big 12s. And then the kid literally showed up to nationals and ran the second fastest all time in the NCAA after only competing once before that. So as I said, nobody is taking away second from Caleb Dean.
You're ready to lock him in.
I'm locking him in. And if you ask Mitch, he actually has Caleb beating Rye. I said that's not happening.
Crazy.
But
It's not happening,
Mitch does not care. Mitch thinks that Caleb will be dropping another second and a half off of his PR. So
Oh, boy.
A second and a half.
I mean, he did it. To be fair, he did do it at nationals.
So he's running like 45.5 or whatever. Like
yeah, like he's ask Mitch. This has nothing to do with me.
I mean, shout out to Caleb Doe. I think he's a solid pick, but I think a lot of these guys are really motivated to get on this team, right? They realize, all right, Rye is out there, but then it's open. Caleb has run extremely fast at NCAAs, but you're talking about Trevor Bassett, who's a world championship, medalist. He was at the world championships last year as well. You're talking about CJ Allen was at Worlds last year. I feel like these guys. Khalifa Rosser, yeah, he made Worlds in 2022. So Chris Robinson, these guys are hungry. That's what I'm looking at.
They're gonna have, there's only one spot for. I mean, because people be getting their feelings hurt. I'm like, stop acting like I don't love y'all. Jesus Christ. But like, I don't know. Like, wreck 'em. Go guns or whatever they be saying at Texas Tech.
I feel it's very similar to the women's 400-meter hurdles, which it's an easy transition to make here.
Yeah.
Everyone knows there's one spot that's a lock.
Oh yes, I mean honestly, even if Sydney knock on wood did fall even twice in her race, she would still win.
I mean, when she was in college, she hit a hurdle at I think NCAA regionals and still qualified through. It was like
she's
crazy.
She's a little insane.
Yeah. And then behind her, Anna Cockrell with the second fastest time of the day, 54.71. Sydney ran 53.07, more than a full second faster than everyone else.
Wild.
Crazy. And then after that is where it gets really, really interesting. Anna Cockrell is someone who I kind of give the edge to right now as okay, you've been to these championships before. You've made teams in the past. You know what it takes. Then after that, Shamir Little coming off of the 400 where she impressed. Has posted third fastest time of the day and a season's best where we came into these championships very concerned about Shamir.
Yeah, I think
very
she ran
concerned about
58
Dalilah
earlier.
Muhammad as well. And Dalilah ran 55.51 today to advance.
Shout out to Dalilah. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was one of those cameras that roll on the side. It lost its wheel in the last 50 meters, and it rolled right in front of her.
Oh, that's what that was?
Yeah, right in front of her.
Didn't nobody know what that was? I was like, did somebody lose a hair tie or something?
So,
I don't know.
I saw you retweeted the clip, right?
Yeah, and she basically hurdled another hurdle.
But I was talking to Shamir when she came through the little content creator lounge or whatever, and I was like, so a whole bunch of people. I was like, well, first I said, well, how do you feel? She's like, I literally feel great. I feel loose, and I'm like, okay, this is what I was trying to tell people on the show. I'm like, okay, it's a little crazy that she running 300-400s before it's time, but I'm like, the way that y'all train at Arkansas, honestly, this is probably something that's gonna prime me for the 400 hurdles. She was like, that's exactly what that did. So now I do trust the process. And I was like, honestly, I know that we were a little scared about it because I was too. I was like, I don't know, Shamir, is you gonna be good? But whatever Coach Johnson be doing down there, I think it's perfect for her and her opportunity to make this team.
Yeah,
Rachel Glenn, the high jump champion, ends up fourth fastest time of the day, 55.03.
She's already going to Paris for one event.
She's already going to Paris, and
you got
she's
nothing to
looking
lose.
good
I feel
here,
like you run a little bit more free when it's all right. I went through the team processing already.
Yeah,
now I can
she's looking good.
Yeah,
and then also Jasmine Jones, the NCAA champion. She also looked comfortable, 55.54. I mean, it's basically everyone behind Sydney. You're talking about so many women behind Sydney. And I also want to do shout out Dalilah Muhammad and definitely check out the interview that I did with her. She was really just open. So this is going to be her last Olympic trials. She's, she's not necessarily retiring after this year, but it's going to be her final Olympics. She said maybe going into 2026, but she was really open just about reflecting back on her career, taking advantage of the opportunities that she had, kind of being in the spotlight at certain times and maybe losing it and not appreciating it. So she was really reflective on things, and I don't know.
She changed the game in this event.
She did. people forget that before Sydney came along, Delilah was like
They
Olympic
better
champion, world
not
champion,
forget about
world
Delilah.
record holder. Like she was the one who set off like what was going on. So I sentimentally, I really want Delilah to make this team.
For kids from Queens,
I really want her to make this team. It's gonna be tough though. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think it's a tall order right now. But like today, looking at the results of this, Sydney, Jasmine Jones, Anna Cockrell, Rachel Glenn, Shamir Little, each one of these winners of each individual heat.
Yeah.
And there's only 3 spots. I think you take a bit of confidence from, winning.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a dogfight, I think, in this event.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be packed. So
I think. Oh, and then
we
we
had
had
the men's 200.
The men's 200 first round where, let's see, we had 2 people eliminated in the whole thing.
This is like the elimination game where it's like no one loses except a couple, but yeah. It's
Noah Lyles in the first heat, or was it the first or second heat?
Second heat, yeah.
20.10, fastest time of the day. Looks easy for him.
Comfortable. This was, and he did say he kind of like was figuring out how to bounce back after the 100, where it's like resetting. He had 2 days. He was like super explosive in the 100, so he had to make sure he can reset for the 200 again. So he's kind of talking through that, but I mean he's like super comfortable.
Same thing with Kenny Bednarek, Courtney Lindsay. Those guys won their respective heats, and Kyrie King also had a good showing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the person a lot of people were watching for, Heat 4, Arian Knighton,
Our little cousin.
opened up the season, his season, individually with a 20.15. Looked great.
He was
signing autographs after. I think he chilling.
Yeah. I think like we had Vernon. This is a conversation I had with Fred off camera. I was like, well,
if it's off camera, Chris, are you allowed to say it?
Well, I necessarily was like asking him just sort of like how he sees this 200 going because he scratched, and so he's got no skin in the game here. And he was like, oh, I fully expect, Noah to be on the team. He thinks Kenny could probably challenge him, and then on top of that, he's like, and I wouldn't be shocked if Ariane is right in that mix too. So today,
should never be shocked.
Anderson, we were talking on the podcast a couple weeks back, maybe even a month or so ago, about just like how we were concerned about Ariane not, we later on found out that it was, he was serving a provisional suspension that ended up getting overturned, and he's in the clear now. But this eases sort of my worries as to like where he would have been, fitness-wise.
I don't think we should have ever been concerned about it anyway, because I mean historically Ariane has always opened up very fast. So like whether he opened up at Olympic trials or at some random meet in the middle of Florida, like he still would have been perfectly fine. So I don't think I ever had any concern. I was like, I don't know where he at. Like, are you injured or like are you dead? And they not telling nobody. But like now that he's here, I'm like, okay, we good.
Yeah. And I guess it's fair to like think, he's still extremely young, right? And it's not like he's dealing with injuries, dealing with like, this situation.
He's not even 21. He can't even buy a drink yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he drinks Olipop all the time.
Oh, Lord.
Right? But it's like, a young person dealing with something that's like, you never want to go through. Who knows how it might have affected his mental. But to drop, 20.1 in the first round. And he walked through the mix zone. He didn't talk to anybody. But, I said, good job. He was like all smiles. He's like, yo, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he challenges. I mean, I don't know for the win, but I think he's 100. I don't know, say 100%, 99%. He's probably going to be on this team.
He's getting second or third.
Yeah. So. Do we feel like Kenny?
Yes.
Can take down Noah?
Oh no, I take it back. I just told Noah today. I said that he was winning, so I can't say that anybody else is gonna beat him because he's gonna come get me, and I don't want to die. But no, I don't think anybody's beating Noah. I do see Kenny challenging him, but the 200 is Noah's baby. So like Kenny can probably get up there and run something really fast with him, but in terms of like even if it's at the line, like Noah is going to be the person to take it.
So I in general agree with you, but I would say I feel like Kenny's coming off a personal best in the 100, right? And he's never run. He's not like a quote unquote 100-meter runner, right? So for him to be able to get a 100-meter personal best, potentially he's already in the form of his life in the 200. I wouldn't be surprised if he at least challenges Noah.
That's what I said. He's gonna challenge him, but I don't know. I don't think he's gonna.
And I'll say, I don't know. I'm gonna like external factors. When we were all in the mix zone talking with Noah, Kenny B, walked on by. Obviously, Noah's like the popular one, Netflix cameras, all that. I don't know if Kenny in the back of his mind is like, man, everyone loves this guy. Let me like put something on the chat.
Here's the thing though, like, because I've talked to like his girlfriend, and like his girlfriend be like, I be trying to like make him like more popular, whatever. Because like honestly, like Kenny is a very like underrated like individual. Like he's funny,
and
he's attractive, and he's fast. So it's like, what don't you want? I mean, like y'all got Fred in like Skims commercials. Like, I mean, Kenny also has an Olympic silver medal. So like, you know, I think it's definitely like they want the attention as well. And I think they're just trying to figure out like how to get it, because it's like, you guys asked for him to be fast, and he's like, well, I'm fast. So like, now what else do you want from me?
I'll tell you how. If he beats Noah, he's got to rub it in his face immediately.
But like, he's not that kind of guy, though.
Well, then you can't. You're never going to break through in terms of just that higher level star power. The reason why Noah is beloved by his fan base is because of how vocal he is, how showy he is. The reason why people love Fred and why he's blown up, Fred is the most confident guy out there. He puts stuff out there constantly. If Kenny just wins and takes his victory lap and doesn't do something to antagonize Noah, it's the biggest missed opportunity out there to propel yourself to this next level of stardom, and also to push the storyline for Paris even better.
So like if you were going to beat Noah Lyles, like what would your celebration be?
You turn
Chris?
around and you throw up like the hush sign. I think like that's
perfect, right?
And that's not even doing a lot. I'm not asking him to rip his singlet in front of Noah.
Yeah, let's go.
Like I think just silence him.
Yeah, or even like come back, he runs like let's say 19.5, right? Go on Twitter and say like, what about that world lead, right? Like Noah tweeted before, I want that world lead back. Do something light, do something fun, right? Because Noah's out here, you know, I mentioned the Jamaicans running, 982 in the mix zone. Immediately Noah's like, let's see if he stays healthy, right?
Yeah.
That's just a little jab that like gets things going. So, and Kenny has the talent, he has the speed, and clearly we know he has that personality. He's got to bring it out.
And here's the thing too, is that like, if Kenny does that, Noah is okay. Like
of course,
Noah knows how to handle that, and I think Noah would actually even welcome that.
He thrives off it.
He thrives off of that. And here, I think more so about how Noah handles losing. He's watching this and he's listening to this because he does. Like
I told you when he came in to see me in the mix, he's like, "Are you gonna say any more ridiculous predictions?" I'm like, "Boy, I got you winning. Like, what else do you want from me?"
Listen, I ran into him at the hotel yesterday, and I said to him, "It's so much fun knowing that we can talk openly on this podcast, and you're listening and watching this." And so he knows he's okay with this being good for the storylines for Paris. Like he'll turn up when it matters most. And I think that the Noah that we saw in Jamaica after losing that race and the clip, that like it was the clip went viral. Yeah, he was talking about sort of like the starter or the how it was really quick. Noah dropped a couple F-bombs in there, and like that's not the Noah you see on NBC. I want that Noah going into Paris, just sort of a little bit more.
You want the
fired
hothead?
up.
You want the hothead?
Yeah,
it clearly works for him. It clearly does.
Because if that works in setting off Noah to run even faster, then Kenny can do us a favor and maybe get us closer to that Bolt world record.
So,
but also it's good for Kenny too, because in these races, all these guys, they level up against one another.
Yeah.
And so I'm just hoping here. I'm not rooting for Kenny to win. I'm just saying if he wins, this is the moment that he has to take advantage and like do something to antagonize Noah Lyles.
Okay, but here's the thing. On like the stronger chance that like Noah just continues to win, like I don't know. I just think this conversation about like making Kenny like a bigger star is like so interesting to me because like you said, like Fred has also lost. Like he didn't even make the finals in Budapest last year, but like people still freaking love him even though like his last major like individual like championship medal was like back in 2022. So it's like,
but he still talks.
So it's okay. So like, what does Kenny need to do, whether he wins or lose, to like make people like
do something like, let's say he loses, right? What happened in, was it 2022 when Ariane finished second and Noah pointed?
The gun thing or whatever, the point is or whatever it is.
Immediately after, Ariane is like, job's not finished, and he runs off, right?
Yeah.
That's everywhere. right? Now, again, not saying that Kenny has to do exactly like these other people
And
are
it
doing.
doesn't have to be so like vicious or malicious. I would
Exactly,
say.
exactly. There's like friendly ways to like make sure that you're at least putting something out there and you're like,
Okay.
you know, taunting people.
Because I
Create
want him to
a
be more famous. Like, I love him. Like, him and like his girlfriend
Yeah.
are literally like so awesome. I'm just like, dang, what is everybody doing that, like, because you're literally fast. Like, you're not slow. Like, you have an Olympic individual medal. Like,
Of course.
nobody is taking that from you. But like, why don't people love you the same
Yeah.
way that they love Noah and Fred? Like, it's crazy.
This is the biggest chance that he's got, and if he blows it by like winning and not doing anything, then I'm like, I don't have any sympathy for like why he's not that big of a
I
star.
have sympathy.
I mean, and I give him credit. I give him credit. He's
sympathy.
trying. He's good on social media. He's producing videos, and he's got a great YouTube channel. But like, it's sort of disrespecting your opponent, or like just jabbing him a little bit that will take that a little bit further. I don't think Christian Coleman is breaking through to make these top three, but I applaud.
Don't say that too loud.
But I applaud the effort that he's coming back and giving us a
Yeah.
really
No,
good
he
shot.
ran like he was trying to make that team. Like I said, he is going to have to run way better than his PR that he ran way back when in order to make that team. I mean, like, you can never put it past anybody to do anything. But like, it was so nice, like, seeing him run with like so much confidence, like after not having his individual spot, because you know, like when he doesn't win, like he doesn't really like to talk to people. He's a very silent guy. He's very reserved. So sometimes it can kind of come off as like, are you like being a sore loser a little bit? Like, are you angered? Like, what's like, you can't really read him very well. And so to see him like take that to the chin and be like, you know what? No, like I'm still gonna line up for the 200. Like no matter what happens, it was like, okay, cool. Like I'm sure that me and like other people have like gained like infinite like more respect
Totally.
for you from that.
Another to counterpoint of this whole discussion of like why Kenny isn't as a bigger star. Christian is the opposite. Like no YouTube channel, quiet.
He does not like to speak.
I mean, doesn't do a ton of media, or like doesn't put it. He's not active on Twitter or anything like that. But the reason why is because when he does win, he does something.
Yeah.
The wave to like his competitors, like as he's kind of pulling away from them, or the shush.
Yep.
He wins in style, and that's all I'm asking. Just here is like, if Kenny wins, win in style and do something to kind of poke the bear of Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
And I know that if Arion pulls it off, he would do it.
Because I mean, even like Arion is still like, Arion has yet to like beat Noah, but like people like still love Arion because, like you said, like he does something like after he races, or like he says something, like whatever it is, like it's more than just like, okay, like some kid that Noah ended up beating.
Yeah. So
I think if Arion wins, he's got something pent up from 2022. I think like
from 2022, from like this year, where there's probably a ton of people doubting him
Even
for
from
being out.
Tokyo too. Like he was one spot off the podium at 17 years old. Like if that's not insane, I don't know what is.
So. In the grand scheme of things, like I think that this race, the men's 200, Noah Lyles is a heavy favorite. If he loses, then it's a great thing for Paris. If he wins and then he's dominant again, then I honestly think like
It's good for the plot either way it goes.
Well, I
honestly,
think that the 200 compares. Like if Noah dominates this thing, it's like I'm less enthused to tune in.
What?
Right?
It's like it's not like we want to see Noah lose, but we want to see the storyline, right? Because even think of after he won the 100 in Budapest, it was like, all right, he's just gonna win the 200. He ran 19.5, and it was like, you know, it's not even that, right? We want to see like I want to see some storyline.
Hey guys, this is only the first round of the 200.
I know.
So
Sorry.
we've got semis and we've got more, and a day off. So and the final. So we're getting pretty deep without even knowing if like all these guys are going to be in the final.
Right.
I feel good about it, but regardless,
Let's see.
All right, I think that does it for day 7 of the U.S. Olympic trials. Chris Chavez, Anderson Emerald, Caitlin Hutchison here, Mac Fleet behind the camera. We had Eric Jenkins, Karen Lesowitz on. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. with Karen, Mitch, and Eric for Good Morning Track and Field. And we're back with our daily talk show. After that, the grind is still going strong. And why? Because what?
We love track and
I
field,
love
man.
track and field.
We love track and field. Have a good night.